3 rangers disappeared in winter, but here's the thing, they didn't disappear, they transformed. In 1983, the National Park Service started an experiment. They selected certain hikers, flagged them as high risk, and then they watched what happened when those hikers were left alone in extreme cold for weeks. What they found was impossible. What they created was worse. Tonight, I'm showing you 3 cases that park officials have tried to bury. Cases of rangers who came back wrong. Cases of hikers who didn't come back at all. Before we start, subscribe, because after hearing what happened in these 3 parks, you're going to question every winter hiking trip you've ever taken. Let's start with story 1 of the ranger who was supposed to die alone. I found something I wasn't supposed to find. It was locked in a cabinet behind 3 other filing cabinets in the basement of a Rocky Mountain Ranger station. The label was simple: disposal. That's it. Just 1 word. And something about that word made me open it. Inside was a folder dated 1993, and the moment I read the first line, I understood why nobody was supposed to find it. It read, Wendigo Candidate Selection Protocol. My hands started shaking, not from fear, from recognition. Because I'd worked that station for 12 years, and I'd never heard of this protocol, but I'd seen its results. I opened the first page. It was a psychological evaluation form, the kind they use to screen hikers before certain winter expeditions. But the questions were wrong. They weren't asking if someone was experienced. They were asking, could this person transform into a wendigo if left alone in extreme cold? And they scored it. Percentage points: 42%, 67%, 89%, 73%. I started flipping through the files. Hundreds of names, all scored, all evaluated. And next to each score, 1 of 2 codes, either rescued or deprioritized. The ones marked deprioritized were missing. My stomach dropped. I pulled up missing person cases from the last 20 years and cross-referenced them with these evaluation forms. The pattern was there, clear as day. Hikers marked as high wendigo candidates with deprioritized status had gone missing in winter. Official reports said accidents, exposure, bad luck, but the satellite imagery told a different story. I found David Chen's case, missing in 2008 during a blizzard. The search log showed a rescue team stationed 2.3 miles from his last known location. 2.3 miles. Close enough to see him if they looked, and they just didn't move. For 5 days, the gap in the records wasn't explained, it just existed. Then on day 6, David was found, alive. But something had broken inside him. The medical report was vague. Unusual cold tolerance, they called it. Poor body temperature of 94 degrees in minus 18-degree weather. No frostbite, no hypothermia. Impossible. And when they found him, he was eating raw meat, animal remains, still warm. He was crouched over it like something primal had taken over. The psychiatric evaluation came next. Behavioral regression, that's what they called it, like it was just a clinical observation. But the details, Jesus, the details were nightmarish. David had spent 12 days alone in extreme cold. 12 days. And when they found him, he didn't speak in full sentences anymore. His speech was fragmented, broken, and his eyes, the evaluator noted this specifically, his eyes tracked movement like a predator, like he was assessing whether you were food or a threat. The evaluation ended with, subject demonstrates 89% probability of wendigo transformation. Recommend continued observation and containment. That's when I understood. They didn't accidentally delay rescues. They deliberately selected hikers for this, watched them, let them starve in the cold, let them break, let them change. And when something happened to them, something that shouldn't be possible, they didn't call it a tragedy, they called it data. I found Dr. James Holbrook's memo from 1997. I still remember reading it, still remember how my mouth went dry. The Starvation protocol has proven effective over 12 parks. Selected candidates placed in extreme survival conditions show consistent transformation markers. By day 7, psychological regression begins. By day 14, predatory instinct activation occurs. By day 30, subjects demonstrate complete behavioral reversal and enhanced survival capabilities exceeding normal human parameters. Enhanced capabilities. They were creating them, manufacturing wendigos like it was a science experiment. I found the video file next, security footage from 2004. It showed a woman on a stretcher. Her name was Claire Morrison, missing hiker, day 12 of extraction. I watched as they wheeled her into a medical facility. Her body was skeletal, ravaged, but her eyes, they were wrong in a way I can't describe. They moved with purpose, hunting purpose. When a ranger asked her a question, her mouth opened and multiple voices came out, like her throat was speaking in harmony with itself. "We are hungry," the voices said. "We are always hungry. They wanted this. They needed this. They're still watching to see if it takes." The video cut to black. I found Claire's file. She's in a psychiatric facility, 18 years. Last evaluation from 2019. Subject remains in stable reversal state. Predatory instinct contained through pharmaceutical intervention. I slammed the folder shut. I had to tell someone. I prepared evidence. I made copies. I contacted the FBI. But then I found something that made me stop. My own evaluation form. It was in my file, my handwriting, my psychological profile, my scores calculated. Extreme isolation preference, obsessive wilderness focus, family history of schizophrenia, my mother's illness, not mine. My wendigo probability, 76%. Status, monitoring. I looked at my hands, really looked at them. When had my nails started looking like that? When had my skin started feeling like this? And the hunger, the constant, gnawing hunger, it wasn't for food. I found my own journal entries, written in my own handwriting, but I didn't remember writing them. Day 3 in the deep cold. The hunger is beautiful. I can feel them watching. They're waiting to see if I understand. I looked in the mirror that night. My eyes didn't move when I moved my head. They tracked independently, like a predator's eyes. And I realized the worst part. I'm not investigating this protocol. I'm becoming the next specimen. Park Service had been watching me the whole time. Every isolated winter patrol. Every time I volunteered for the remote stations. Every time I went deeper into the wilderness than I needed to. They were preparing me. And the hunger, the thing inside me that's grown colder and sharper every day, it knows I understand now. It's waiting for the next winter, for the next deep cold, for the starvation that will finally complete what they started. The wendigo isn't something they're trying to stop. It's something they're trying to become. I wasn't supposed to be reviewing those tapes. It was 3 AM. I was alone in the ranger station. My supervisor had left the security footage system unlocked, and I was just clicking through old winter surveillance, bored, insomnia, that's all. Then I saw him, a figure, moving through the snow that was 2 feet deep, Temperature was minus 22 degrees, and this thing was running through it like the snow wasn't there, like it was running on air, moving with a gant that wasn't quite human, too smooth, too fast, too wrong. I zoomed in on the face. It was Ranger Thomas Garrett. Thomas disappeared in 2008. I knew him, worked with him for 3 years before he went missing during a winter search operation. And now, in this footage from 2016, 8 years later, there he was, moving through my park. Same uniform, same face, exactly the same face, like he hadn't aged a single day, and he wasn't blinking. I pulled up more footage. March 2019, different location, same figure, same face, same impossible movements. This time he was climbing a cliff in the dark, moving vertically like gravity meant nothing to him. And I could see other figures behind him, moving the same way, moving with him. My breath was coming fast now. I started searching for reports. Hikers claiming they'd seen park staff during winter storms. People saying other hikers had approached them and beckoned them off trail into dangerous zones. The witnesses all described the same thing. Figures with wrong proportions, too tall, limbs that didn't bend right, faces that didn't move when they talked. And when rescue teams investigated the area where these figures had been seen, they found something specific. Equipment, arranged in perfect geometric patterns, concentric circles, mathematical precision, impossible to happen by accident. But the hikers themselves were gone. I interviewed a survivor named Marcus. He was shaken when he told me about it. "The guides appeared in the fog," he said. His voice was steady, but his eyes were wrong, distant, haunted. "They had ranger uniforms, but their faces didn't move when they talked. Like their mouths were moving, but the rest were frozen. And their eyes, they didn't track us. They just stared straight ahead into the darkness." "What did they say?" I asked. "That's the thing," Marcus said quietly. "Their voices came from multiple places at once, like they were standing in front of me and behind me and inside me all at the same time. And they all said the same thing in unison. Come deeper, come where it's cold, come where we are waiting." I felt my skin crawl. I accessed the thermal imagery from those search operations. Modern equipment should show heat signatures, should show human bodies. Instead, I found something that made me question my sanity. The missing hikers, the ones who encountered the guides, were registering 0 heat on thermal cameras. Dead bodies don't produce heat, but these figures weren't dead. They were moving, walking, breathing, but completely cold, colder than the environment around them. I found an old ranger journal stuffed in an abandoned equipment locker. The handwriting got progressively worse as the entries went on, like the person writing it was losing their ability to form words. "Day 47 in the deep woods. The hunger is gone now. I don't need food. The cold is feeding me. I can feel the others. There are so many of us. We're all connected. The guides say soon there will be enough of us. Soon we can guide others deeper, and they'll become us, and we'll all be connected. The transformation is so beautiful." By the last entry, the handwriting was barely legible, angular, sharp, inhuman. I found security footage from 2015. A ranger station that had been closed for 3 years shouldn't have any footage, but there it was. 6 figures entering at midnight. They moved in perfect synchronization. Every step identical, every movement mirrored, like they were one organism with 6 bodies. Their faces were wrong, elongated. Their spines hunched forward at angles that should have broken them. Their limbs are too long, too thin. When they opened their mouths to speak, their voices layered over each other, multiple frequencies at once. The guides say soon there will be enough. The migration is almost complete. Soon we will be everywhere, in every park, every winter, and everyone will understand that we are not separate. We are one. We are the cold. We are hunger. We are them. I realized what was happening. The missing hikers weren't dead. They were being networked, connected through something I didn't understand. And they were actively recruiting, using other hikers as bait. I cross-referenced disappearances across 12 national parks. The pattern was consistent. Hikers vanish in winter. Within weeks, other hikers report seeing guides. The network expanding. More nodes, more connection points, more things that used to be human. I brought my evidence to my supervisor. I walked into his office to tell him everything, and he was sitting very still in his chair. When he looked up at me, his eyes didn't move. They stayed fixed straight ahead while his head turned. When he spoke, his voice came from inside itself, like it was echoing through dimensions I couldn't perceive. The guides say you're ready, Sarah. I backed out of his office. I ran home. I pulled up my own security footage from the past month. There were gaps, entire nights missing, 8-hour blocks of time I didn't remember. And in the footage, I could see I was moving wrong, too smooth, too synchronized with the shadows. I found my own journal. Day 1. I can feel them in my mind. The network is beautiful. Day 3. I don't need warmth anymore. The cold feeds me. Day 7. I understand now. I'm a guide too. I looked into the mirror. My reflection moved a fraction of a second slower than I did. My eyes were beginning to elongate. My spine felt like it was reshaping itself inside my body. I drove away from the park, drove for hours, but I could still feel them, all of them, connected, in my head, whispering. Every winter now, I see them in my peripheral vision, moving through the snow, too tall, too synchronized, speaking in overlapping voices, and I can feel myself getting closer to them. The hunger is different now. It's not hunger for food, it's hunger for cold, for darkness, for the deep wilderness where I can finally join the network completely. I'm fighting it, every day. I'm fighting, but I can feel them waiting, and I know, eventually, I'm going to stop fighting. The facility was never supposed to exist. I found it by accident. Thermal imaging irregularity beneath Rocky Mountain National Park. Something underground generating massive amounts of heat in a place that should be dead rock. I investigated, and what I found, I still can't explain it. The cave system was too organized, too engineered. Ventilation shafts carved with precision. Heating systems running off geothermal sources, reinforced containment structures, and written on a rusted metal door in red paint. Specimen collection log, 1983 to 2024. My hands were shaking when I opened it. The first entry, March the 15th, 1983. Subject 1, Marcus Harold. Missing hiker, Yellowstone, 1982. Day 1. Physical changes observable. Subject's body temperature rising despite environmental conditions. Skeletal structure beginning subtle reshaping. Day 3. Cognitive regression beginning. Subject no longer responds to verbal commands. Speech becoming fragmented. Eye contact lost. Day 7. Predatory behavior activation imminent. Subject demonstrates heightened sensitivity. Can track researchers by scent alone. 47 entries, 47 missing hikers and rangers, each one catalogued like they were laboratory specimens. Paper clipped to each entry were photographs, before and after. I looked at the first set. Subject 1, Day 1, a normal face, friendly, kind, alive. Subject 1, Day 15. The jaw had expanded, the eyes had shifted position on the skull, the skin was different, darker, textured, almost scaled. Subject 1, Day 30. It was barely recognizable as human anymore. Complete reversal, the clinical notes read. Subject is now apex predator, enhanced capability, can track scent 2+ miles away. Enhanced hearing, strength testing shows 340% increase over baseline. Subject demonstrates predatory intelligence and hunting instinct. Winter testing phase commences. I felt my stomach turning. They weren't studying wendigos, they were manufacturing them, building apex predators in underground labs. I found video logs, hours of footage. Subject 12, Ranger Thomas Smith, Day 15 of what they called Reversal. I watched his spine elongated on screen, vertebrae stretching, his limbs extending, his face reshaping in real time. He was screaming, but the screams were changing, becoming something other. Frequencies that made my teeth ache, made my brain hurt. By day 30, he was silent, calm, sitting in a containment cell with perfect predatory stillness. A researcher entered the cell. Thomas's head turned towards her with mechanical precision. His mouth opened, and his voice came out in layers, multiple frequencies at once, like his throat had been split into harmonies. "What are you?" the researcher asked. "I am what you made me," the thing that was Thomas Smith responded. "I am human perfected. I am cold perfected. I am winter itself." I kept reading. Dr. James's Holbrook's memo from 2019. Reversal process shows 100% success rate in extreme cold conditions. Subjects develop complete immunity to hypothermia. They don't die in winter, they become immortal in it. This is not adaptation, this is transcendence. Then I found it. The escape log, 2019, Subject 31. The entry before the escape. Subject 31 demonstrates enhanced breeding capability. Genetic sequences suggest Subject 31 carries dormant reversal markers. Recommend containment upgrades before natural breeding occurs. The entry after, handwritten, shaky, urgent. Subject 31 escaped during maintenance breach. Primary objective, do not recapture. Secondary objective, observe breeding patterns. Subject 31 is now field testing. If breeding is successful, Osprey will display accelerated reversal markers. This is the next phase. I realised what I was reading. Park Service hadn't lost control. They let it escape. They were farming it, letting it breed in the wilderness, studying population growth. I found recent communications, missing person cases in winter. Rangers were receiving notifications. Flag candidates and rescue operations were being deliberately delayed. Not to study the humans, to study what the humans became. The final memo made my blood freeze. Specimens 31 to 35 are confirmed breeding, offspring displaying accelerated reversal timeline. Alpine population is self-sustaining. Recommend expanding observation protocol to additional parks. The wendigo is no longer theoretical. The wendigo is population management. I closed the folder with trembling hands. I knew what I had to do. I gathered everything, every memo, every photograph, every piece of evidence. I was going to expose this. Then I received a notification. My psychological evaluation was being updated. Candidate demonstrates extreme isolation preference, obsessive wilderness focus, family history of genetic markers consistent with reversal susceptibility. My probability score, 81%. Status, preparation for winter testing. I looked at my hands. My skin felt different. My hearing was becoming too acute. I could hear things moving in the forest, things that shouldn't exist. They were calling to me with voices that weren't quite voices. I found my own journal, written in my handwriting, but I didn't remember writing it. Day 3 of transformation. The cold is feeding me. I can feel the others. We are many. Subject 31 says I'm ready. I'm ready to breed. I'm ready to feed. I'm ready to become. I understand now. I'm not investigating. I'm becoming. And Park Service is still watching, still documenting, still preparing for the next generation. Because the reversal isn't a mistake. It's the entire purpose.